Welcome back, Year 3. We're on our third session of shared reading this week, and we are reading The Iron Man by Ted Hughes. Throughout the book, Hughes focuses on the Iron Man's eyes, and they change different colours. What do you think this means? Why do you think he's doing this? The skills we've been focusing on this week are defining and comparing. Throughout all shared reading sessions, you should be using the skill of defining to work out the meaning of unknown words in context. This is why the clarification section is useful. The reading skill of comparing is making comparisons within the text or suggesting the impact something has. Let's go over our reading strategies. What do we do when we get to work? Now let's move on to our summarising section of our shared reading. Can you recap the actions of the Iron Man? Let's do a clarification check. The first word is gazing. Can you say the word gazing? Have a look at the woman. What is she doing? What do you think gazing means? If you gaze at something or someone, you look steady at them for a long time. This might be because you find them interesting or attractive. You might also gaze during a daydream. This is where you are staring at something, but in deep thought about something else. Can you use the word gazing in a sentence? She stood gazing in the mirror. Our second word today is peered. Can you say peered? Peered is an action, so it's a verb or doing word. It means to look, to peek, to gaze. It is the past tense of peer. If you peer at something, you look at it with concentration. Our last word today is indesirably. You use indesirably to emphasise that a quality or condition is very intense or extreme, and therefore cannot be properly described. Her indesirably joy when it was confirmed her son was alive. Let's read together after 3. 1, 2, 3. Be either a bat or a black angel or a flying lizard, a dreadful silhouette flying out of the centre of the giant star, straight towards the earth. What was coming out of the giant star? Each night, when the astronomers returned to their telescopes to peer up, this black flying horror was bigger. With slow, gigantic wing beats, with long, slow writhings of its body, it was coming down through space, outlined black against its red star. Within a few more nights, its shape had completely blotted out the red star. The nameless, immense bat angel was flying down Earth like a great black swan. It was definitely coming straight at the Earth. It took several days to cover the distance. Then, for one awful night, its wings seemed to be filling most of the sky. The moon peered fearfully from low on the skyline, and all the people of the Earth stayed up, gazing in fear at the huge black movement of wings that filled the night. The next morning it landed on Australia. Barump! The shock of its landing rolled round the earth like an earthquake, spilling teacups in London, jolting pictures off walls in California, cracking statues off their pedestals in Russia. The thing had actually landed, and it was a terrific dragon. Terribly black, terribly scaly, terribly knobbly, terribly horned, terribly hairy, terribly clawed, terribly fanged, with a vast indescribability, terrible eyes, each one as big as Switzerland. There it sat, covering the whole of Australia, its tail trailing away over Tasmania into the sea, its foreclaws on the headlands of the Gulf of Carpentria. Luckily, The mountains and the hills propped its belly up clear of the valleys, and the Australians could still move about in the pitch darkness under this new sky, this low, queer covering of scales. They crowded towards the light that became in along its sides. Of course, whoever had been on a mountain top when the dragon landed had been squashed flat. Nothing could be done about them. And there the horror sat, glaring out over the countries of the world. What had it come for? What was going to happen to the world now this monstrosity had arrived? Everybody waited. The newspapers spoke about nothing else. Aircrafts flew near the space bat Angel Dragon, taking photographs. It lay over Australia, higher than any mountains, higher than the Hindu Kush in Asia, and its head alone was the size of Italy. For a whole day, while the people of the earth trembled and wept and prayed to God to save them, the space bat Angel Dragon lay resting, its chin sunk into the Indian Ocean, the sea coming not quite up to its bottom lip. But the next morning, early, its giant voice came rumbling round the world. The space bat Angel Dragon was speaking. It wanted to be fed. And what it wanted to eat was. Now it's your opportunity to answer some questions about the text using the reading skills you've learned. Remember, at any point you can pause the video and you can record your answers down on paper if you want to. Question 1. How did the shock of the creature landing impact the world? Can you find a phrase? How did the shock of the creature landing impact the world? Question 2. What impression does the author want us to have of the creature? Can you give your opinion and back it up with evidence? What impression does the author want us to have of the creature? Question 3. What adverb gives the impression? Can you find the phrase? What adverb gives the impression? Let's see how you did. The first question was, how did the shock of the creature landing impact the world? So let's scan through the text and find the word shock. Did you manage to find it? It says, the shock of its landing rolled around the earth like an earthquake. So that could be a phrase. But if you wanted to extend that, you could also say, it spilled teacups in London, jolted pictures off walls in California, and cracked statues off their pedestals in Russia. All of these show the impact of the creature landing across the world. The second question was, what impression does the author want us to have of the creature? And I asked you to give your opinion and find evidence to back it up. I think the author wants us to step into how the characters feel in the story. He wants us to fear the creature. Hughes creates tension in the way he gets the creature to move closer and closer to Earth. It was coming down through space, outlined black against its red star. Then it says, within a few more nights, its shape had completely blotted out the star. It was definitely coming straight at the Earth. Then, one awful night, its wings seemed to be filling most of the sky. The author even uses personification. It says the moon peered down fearfully from low on the skyline. This shows the creature was so frightening that even the moon was scared. The author also gives us this impression by repeating terribly. So he says terribly black, terribly scaly, terribly knobbly. Here he is building up the impression that the creature is very terrifying and hideous. The last question was, what adverb gives this impression. And we've already spoken about the repetition of this word. The adverb is terribly.